and the volunteers for the open house and the donuts and the tour of the new fire truck on Saturday. That was wonderful. Did you put all the donuts?
No, I didn't. They're still.
Okay.
Should bring them up. Should.
Number one on the agenda, Mr. Ebersol, discuss vacation of a portion of Tulsa Avenue.
Not sure how all this works. Do I come up there and present or stand right here?
Either way.
It's pertaining a vacation of a piece of Tulsa Avenue. I'm living Shepherd of the Hills Estates down in just south of down the hill from the car wash. That's what I'm trying to say. The reason this came up, I found out about 2 weeks ago. I have a contract on the place to sell it, and the buyer's mortgage company was concerned about my house hanging out into the street easement, and it's something. If you look at the fourth page, I think the last page is, yeah, the one you got right there. That one right there is the most explanatory. The other ones are a little bit more of an overall view, just showing which block and which lots they are. I have some bigger versions here if anybody's interested, but the one that that would be the most pertinent, I think, is Exhibit D. If you want to, if this one right here, it's the same one you're looking at right there. So it's that one. So I did talk to Cheyenne about how to present all this, and she said this would be the first place to start, just to see if it's a possibility. And she also said I need some signatures from my neighbor, which I have a verbal, you know, that she would be willing. She just told me tonight there's like 3 other people on the deed, which I was unaware of. So I do have the commitment. I actually have the notarized signature coming to me. It's supposed to be here tomorrow from, she lives in Louisiana. My neighbor Sylvia Howard lives in Louisiana, and it's in the mail, is the notarized signature. I have my notarized signature here on the petition. This is the original. I'm not sure who is interested in getting this or getting this. This is the original, my notarized signature on that. The closing is scheduled for next week on Tuesday. I don't know if there's any way I can get it with a contingency of getting the signatures, and have a surveyor lined up tomorrow to come and mark out the pins exactly where they are. He'll be on my property tomorrow, so just asking for if you would consider vacating that short portion of the street.
That was gonna be my question, was whether you'd had a survey or not, because if this is
Yeah.
off Beacon, you know, those lines aren't necessarily
Yeah,
spot
I
on.
have one lined up. It was, like I said, I only found out about this about a week and a half ago, that it's gonna be a problem with the mortgage company, and so I've been scrambling trying to get stuff together for
And you only wanna take the portions that are shaded in this. You're not looking to get up in here, you're just looking for this.
Correct. It's,
You're not hearing about that.
yeah, it's, the orange portion would go to, I own the triangle, the big triangle,
Sure.
lots 1, 2, and 3, and lot 14. This is my neighbor that owns lot 15.
So one thing that concerns me with Sylvia, what you said there's 3 names on the deed.
Yes,
We would have to be absolutely certain before we vacate that we had permission or input from
all three
of those people.
Yeah.
Before we could proceed. That would only be fair and judicial.
Right.
When you started talking, you said that the premise for this was because the mortgage company
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that your house wasn't built over the line?
Well, they know it's built over the line. They're wanting to assurance that the city isn't going to pave the street in the next, 30 years while their mortgage is being held there.
I
Do
would
you know
think
for
they
a
could
fact
do
it's
survey
over the
first.
line, or are you going off a beacon?
Well, that, I'm pretty sure my air conditioner hangs out in the line. I didn't think that much of my house was in there, so that's why I have a surveyor there, lined up for tomorrow.
And the other lots, the lot number 15 and your lot number 14, they both have access to streets, so they can have street access
Yeah,
off of Wichita and off of Springfield.
yeah.
So this isn't gonna be an entrance street.
It's never been used in the 15 years I've been there. I'm pretty sure it's never been used since the house was built, and I'm pretty sure beyond that, it was never used since 1926 when they did the survey.
We would never do that and put this street there, cause it would create a heck of a situation there at Springfield, cause then Springfield, Wichita, and Lakeside would all be merged together.
Is there anything
Here's
buried
a,
under there?
pardon?
Is there anything buried under there?
Well, how do you
All
mean
kinds
that?
of sense.
Yeah.
Well, he's not
That
talking
is what-
body.
He cannot incriminate himself.
Sewer.
Need you to get metal detector out.
There is a water meter for my house down right in this area right here somewhere. There's a water meter for my house, but other than what else is buried there, I don't know where the lines run to and
Yeah,
from.
and you're selling this property, correct?
Correct.
So we can't make an agreement with you that, A, it would stay green space, or where if there is something in there that we don't cover it up, something don't build it, whoever builds it's gonna
Well,
take.
I mean, I don't care if you still want to keep it as an easement for, utilities or all that kind of stuff. The main thing they're worried about is not gonna get blacktopped and there's cars driving, you know, this far from the house. I don't care. if it's-
Well, if you look at this map though,
Which one's that?
This move.
And
the easement
The black
that,
and white one?
the easement that Mr. Masal was talking about lines up directly with all of the other easements going down the hill, correct?
correct.
So I would assume that, you know, that was done for a reason.
I mean, I think, you know, if I can give my input, I think part of it was due to the geographical, you can't see it in a flat piece of paper, but there's like, I'm not sure, in 30 feet of my house, it raises about 8 feet, you know, from one floor to the other. In other words, I have an exposed basement. And so it's a heck of a hill if you would ever put anything there, and I think it was just done for geographical.
And if you look 2 blocks down, Tulsa does not connect there either,
Right.
so.
What is it, a lot, 20 and 22 number?
Yeah, 85, the black and white one, 85, see, that's still wrong. So Tulsa's only 1 block wide, 1 block long.
Yeah, we're
We're at-
talking like 150 feet by 30 feet, I think is what it is.
Well, the first battle was that we
Yeah,
have to
you
get
see.
all 3 signatures that willingly accept that part of it. We can't vacate something without talking to them.
If all 3 people do agree, can we act tonight pending their agreement?
Thank you, yes, that's what.
So that he doesn't have to wait until we meet another time.
With one exception, I have to talk to Steve, and he's not feeling good. I'll talk to him in the morning though. I need to make sure that there's no
Water and sewer.
water and sewer going there, which I'm sure there is not, but I don't wanna.
Like I
Everything's
said,
gonna run under streets.
my water meter is right about in here
And
somewhere.
and that probably comes off of Wichita. It's probably right down to Wichita.
I couldn't, yeah,
I'm 99%, there's nothing in there,
yeah.
but before I do that, that would be one exception as well, cause I hate to do this all, and then all of a sudden, you know, someone put a shed in and we gotta go rip it out cause
Yeah.
a pipe broke or
Well,
a main broke.
Yeah, and we could, if
So-
there is easement there, there's probably ways we can
Yeah.
clarify that down the line too, but I would think.
The legal description should include your easement description.
Well, the title company would make exceptions,
Right.
existing easements.
So, yeah, the gave you, this should actually go with it, I'm sorry, not that one. Yes.
I think you should keep this until you, cause you'll have to bring in a description of that.
There's a copy of it, but the exhibit A that it's talking about is, there was no wording change, but it was, there was no wording in the description change, but it was worded a little differently because I made it up and then you gave me this. In other words, this is pertaining to this. This I gave you before.
You got this from a surveyor or from
No,
engineer company?
this is just my own wording right here.
I think
yeah.
it needs to come from the
Yeah,
engineer.
well, it
Yeah.
can tomorrow.
Okay, you keep all that
Okay.
until, until we get it all
Alright.
together and.
Who's you, so,
I would move
You-
that, huh?
do you wanna spearhead this? Are you working next couple days, or in town?
I'm around.
Alright.
Spirit, that's a scary topic for me, but, I'll be glad to, work on this since you're working and stuff like that, and whatever.
Well,
But,
if-
so, just because time frame and this came up and the house was built somehow across the easement
If it
at
was.
a time,
which
if
we
it
don't know.
was.
Which we don't know till we have a legal
Yeah.
description.
So-
As long as the adjoining property owners sign off, and there's nothing in the ground, I have no problem with this. But we need to look at the real survey too, to make sure that, but I'm sure it's gonna fall in those boundaries,
Right, so
so.
I would move that to give, permission to move forward pending the agreement of the other three property owners, the other property owners.
Right.
And then pending word from Steve that there's no utility sewer and stuff going under there. And, that everything's good, and the surveyors come back and say, yeah, this is over the easement and whatever, and however that comes back.
Okay.
So,
Is there anything I can get in writing to show the buyer's mortgage company that says we're willing to move forward pending?
yeah, once
Will they take
we,
the minutes?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
But their minutes won't
I'll
be approved
second
until next
your
month.
motion,
Well, they're taking inside sales.
Without a stipulation.
so we can give them a set of the minutes for that.
They just want to keep the mortgage deals moving.
Yes, that's my, and try not to wait till next month's meeting as well.
It'll be minutes not approved, but it will be the minutes of this meeting.
If they're acceptable, I don't know if they're taking them or not, so
So we
it's
can,
on them.
we'll give it a shot.
Okay, I thank you very much.
Okay, you had a motion?
We got a motion and second.
Second.
Scott,
I'm
second.
listening to you, so.
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
I appreciate your time.
thank you. Good luck with that.
Thanks.
So are you moving out of the area?
Just up to Ozark, not real
That's
far.
out of the area.
I'm sorry. My son still lives here, so that count?
Thanks
You
for
have to
living
burn
here
your
while you
boots once you
can.
get up there for, they done touch the soil.
Thank
They
you.
already are, that's where I've been working.
Start burning your boots.
We did have an issue with the agenda. Item number 2 is supposed to be the second reading, bill number 565, which replaced 560, the dangerous buildings ordinance. Number 1, the meeting last Tuesday was classified as a work session, so we weren't able to have the first reading. So we could have the first reading tonight, we could have the first and second reading tonight, but we might also consider changing the verbiage on 565 also, where it says an ordinance repealing ordinance 162 and ordinance 187 and adopting an ordinance regulating dangerous and unsafe structures from the city of Forsyth, Missouri, in order to keep the properties that are already in process moving forward and not starting over. We would need to add to that something to that effect. Did I say that right? Rather than starting all over with all these properties that Chief and Will have worked on for over a year.
So what do we need to do tonight to help move that
Let's
forward?
decide. what's it gonna say?
So we can leave the title as is and just add with the exceptions of properties having been found in violation of,
Ordinance 162 and
yes,
A
Except
87.
So with exceptions having been found under ordinances 162 and 187?
Yeah.
That it? Is that all this is saying? Well, can I be directly for you?
Why can't we go ahead and just
Hank's
put that
writing it
in, go
down?
ahead and tell them. Just write it in
deemed to be in violation.
and run through it.
just
Just write it in.
do the first on that.
And then
The second.
that'll allow discussion as well.
Yep. So, so I move the first reading of bill number 565. An ordinance, so,
With the changes.
yeah, with the changes that properties already in process, because we have a list of our dangerous properties. If anybody wanna see the properties we're working on, you can see that. And we've sent letters to them, we've communicated with them, some for a long, long, long time, and we're trying to get this moving forward. So, and then, doing that as a first reading for bill number 565, which will eventually become the dangerous building ordinance. So I move the first reading of bill number 565.
You wanna read it, or?
I don't think we have to change.
Well, we
the
just need to
title.
make sure that we have,
Because that's not
correct.
yeah,
Written correctly, that is good.
So we could read, they could read the title as is.
the title as is. Okay. So, a motion for first reading?
Bill number 565 by title only.
Is there a second?
I'll send it to them.
Thank- All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Read that.
I think so.
Aye.
Bill number 565, an ordinance repealing ordinance 162 and ordinance 187, and adopting an ordinance regulating dangerous unsafe structures within the city of Forsyth, Missouri.
First reading.
Any discussion on the first reading?
Angela's gonna have amended language to make it okay.
Is it possible to comment on this, or do I need to wait till the comment section?
If we keep it super brief, yeah.
I understand that you have a current ordinance that you're operating under for these existing properties that you're working on. I'm not sure why you're looking at doing a very intrusive ordinance that's 11 pages long. And I understand that you have certain things that you're trying to cover. But if you read this without looking at the goals that you're trying to accomplish, and you just read it for what it is, I think it's very, it's too much. And I think that it needs to be revisited before you would consider doing a second reading on it. And maybe the ordinances that you're operating under now, maybe they just need a little cleaning up to make them effective. There are a lot of older properties here in town that are still in good condition, but they may not have plumb walls, but they may still be in good condition. And so some of the definitions that you have for dangerous buildings, I'm not sure that they relate. And if you're reading it for what it actually says, it could be taken several ways. And I know you're probably as a board looking at one particular way. But you have to look down the road, who's gonna be coming behind you, and how's this gonna be interpreted. And I think there's some very serious issues in here that really, should not be passed in the city of Forsyth for the size of town that we are.
Do you have anything in
Thank you.
specific?
Well, when you look at, for example, on the plumb walls, that's not something that you could drive by and determine that an interior wall is not plumb. Now, I understand if you drive by and you see the roof is off of a building, yes, that is definitely, without a doubt, a dangerous building, without a doubt. And that needs to be taken care of. But when you look at some of these definitions, they could be interpreted other ways.
Right, but
Like which
Cheryl,
one?
we're going on, if you
Which
look at
one?
505.060, number 1, okay, when he or she has reasonable grounds to believe that any such building is dangerous. The whole entire premise of the ordinance is for danger, not for nitpicking people. And we had our work session on this last week. Chief Bauer, Chief Gray, Will, Jack Gates have been working on this for several months. So we're kind of at the end.
Well, and
Portion
I
of it
was
now?
unaware, I would have loved to have been here, but I was not aware of your work session. But
Yeah.
I do think that, this is goes a little bit too far in what you're looking at.
Do you have a specific example?
Mayor, go ahead.
Well, for example, even if Scott, he has a commercial building. If he has a tenant that maybe he has to evict, and this tenant becomes disgruntled, well, he can come to the board and say, you know, I've got proof that this is a dangerous building. Well, it may not be a dangerous building, it's simply because he thinks that he's disgruntled, and that can become an issue. And so I think that when it comes to the fact of dangerous buildings, I think it's something that you need to be able to see from the outside. Now, obviously, if you have a house and a floor has fallen through, you know, that's a different situation.
Cause in the definition of the dangerous building, there's nothing in there that says anything about disgruntled.
No, there's not anything that says anything about disgruntled, but it does talk about if people have concerns, they can address the Board of Aldermen. And
Correct,
so
and then
that,
if they,
that could be under false pretenses.
Nate, can you before we get into discussion, explain the process that this is gonna go and what someone has to do to make a complaint? And that maybe we could better understand this.
Right, and so that's the whole, and we have, I mean, went through the current ordinances, the dangerous building, combined what we could, addressing under the building code as well, and also there's state statute that comes into play on some of it. And we're trying to clarify what that process is. The current process doesn't clarify, all right, so you have to go, you know, someone files a complaint, how does it get inspected? How does it go to the Board of Aldermen for review, or the Board of Adjustments for review? And so that's some of the things that if you look in the checklist and as well as to line it out, is it lines that out as far as what that process is. It's not just one inspector looking at it, well, that looks bad, or it's a tenant that says, hey, this is bad. It's all inclusive, looking at it and checking the box and see, does it meet the definition of the dangerous building? If it does, then how do we work with the property owner and move forward to fix the issue, or does it need to go further? So.
Thank you.
So, I'll pick on Matt here. Matt complains about my building, says that it's dangerous. He comes in there and beats on the door, says, gets Cheyenne, so you come moseying out the door. So how's that, let's go.
So we'll make a visit with him, make a phone call and figure out what, is it him complaining, is it the tenant complaining? It doesn't matter. Does it meet the definition of dangerous building? We have that checkbox in there that meets that, right? And then if it needs to be further, if it's something that they're not willing to fix and it's truly is a dangerous, then what's the next step? Is it truly, giving them some guidance as far as what they can do as, you know, as far as the building code regulation that will allow them to fix it? Or does it need to go further? Is it an unsafe structure? Maybe it's an apartment, and there's multiple tenants, and the building's getting ready to fall down. That's something we have to address pretty quickly. We can't wait to make a phone call and that sort of stuff, so. And, you know, it's truly working with the tenant and the owner, trying to figure out what is the best option. Now ultimately, and I know it's under the dangerous building update, but it is to involve, we do have a board of adjustments, right? And so, truly, they can go to the board of adjustments, they can request a hearing from the board of aldermen say, yes, we want a board of adjustments, everybody meets, and then we can figure out, is there another alternative to fix that scenario, that situation to move forward? And then that gets presented back to the board of aldermen for the results, and they'll accept that recommendation or not. So, I mean,
Sure, I understand exactly. I mean, we've had some pretty good conversations in the years, and, everything, if interpretation was so easy, we wouldn't need guys like him. No offense.
Well, everybody can.
I can put
interpret
I can
things
put a sign that says free Snickers. Well, some people would expect, well, they're gonna get a Snickers bar. Somebody gets says, well, Snickers is plural. I get more than one. I mean, no matter what you put, people interpret it different. I mean, we could have one sentence.
Right, and the
And
bottom line
people
is,
mess
we've been
up.
working on this, the guy's been working on this for 3-4 months now, at the very least, so again, this is at the closing stages of it, so.
And like Nate said,
Appreciate your time.
it's
Well,
a
one
combination
more
of many
comment.
ordinances that have come together to make this one. So yes, it is 11 pages, but it's a combination of a bunch of different sections into one to clarify what those 6 or 8 ordinances said.
For example, on number 6 of your definition, those having light, air, and sanitation facilities which are inadequate to protect the health, safety, or general welfare of human beings who inhabit, occupy, or use the premises. Okay, now, by having light air, okay, are you saying, is it a situation that you think there might not be enough light, or there's too much light?
Cheryl, we're gonna go ahead and defer that to the building inspector and to the fire chief. These are not items that are that dissimilar to what was in the ordinance before, and this board is very familiar with coming up behind another board and doing the interpretations, which is why we're having this new ordinance drafted. So I'm gonna go ahead and cease
I'm pretty
comments on
sure-
it at this point in time.
I'm pretty sure that exact same word was in the previous ordinances, so it was a bunch of cut and paste to everything of old ordinances, so.
It's just a big consolidation.
It's a big, it's like, yeah, it is a
First
big
reading.
consolidation
Yeah.
into
Approve the
one.
first reading.
That's why it's
into
11
the-
pages long.
with
Yeah.
changes.
adopt.
No, just approve the first
Motion
reading.
to accept first reading.
I move a motion to approve the first reading of bill number 565.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm having second thoughts on this. I'm gonna vote no. We've got 22 pages, not 11, by the way. I think that's what's scaring the public. There's too much. Over and over.
How was it 22 pages?
There's 11.
Yeah, well, you.
They're numbered 1 through
It's
11.
got 11 pages.
Scott, how do you vote?
I'm gonna vote no too. I'm gonna go through some, review it a little bit myself, a little bit better. I like the gist of it, for sure. and we need it quick. I just, do we even have a board of adjustments?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
And I mean, this has been in the work, this is, the teacher in me is gonna come out with you guys not doing your homework.
My concern is that this could become someone can call all the time. It's like a nuisance you have to make, Jeff will have to show up. It happens 20 times a week.
How is that different from the ordinances that are already on the book?
Well, if you run through this,
But we're not going to.
We're not going to.
We're not going to.
We're not
So
going to.
I would vote to approve the first reading of bill number 565. And we'll have the second reading next month with the changes.
And so if there is input, there's time to do that, so, thank you. I move the first reading of bill number 566. And an ordinance repealing ordinance 144, 401, 411, and specific sections of ordinance 299, and adopting an ordinance declaring weeds and trash and junk kept, maintained, and deposited on property within the city of Forsyth. And so on.
So, motion to,
Read
First-
by title only.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Bill number 566, an ordinance repealing ordinances 144, 401, 411, and specific sections of ordinance 299, declaring weeds, trash, and junk kept, maintained, or deposited on property within the city of Forsyth, Missouri, to be a nuisance, and providing for the prevention and abatement thereof. Motion to approve the first reading. Discussion?
I move the approval of the first reading of bill number 566.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Motion for a second reading of same?
I move the second reading of bill number 566 by title only.
That's all you have to say.
Huh?
That's all you have to say.
I know, I realize that.
A motion?
I'll second it.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bill number 566, an ordinance repealing ordinances 144, 401, 411, and specific sections of ordinance 299, declaring weeds, trash, and junk kept, maintained, or deposited on property within the city of Forsyth, Missouri to be a nuisance, and providing for the prevention and abatement thereof.
And the reason we're doing first and second reading on this one is that we've had this before us and have worked on it for a long period of time and had it at a work session and thought we could act on first reading. But we really wanna get this one moving forward, so.
Tim?
I didn't want to interrupt, I just wanted to ask a question. I noticed on bill number 566, there's no process for appeal by the landowner, whereas in 565 there is. Did I miss that? And the only reason I ask is if, for some reason, should the property owner have the ability to appeal the decision of a nuisance property, whereas they can in 565, I was just curious why there was a difference. It's like we can appeal if you disagree with our structure, but we have no avenue to appeal if it's our property. It seems like you're inconsistent. And maybe I just missed it, so, cause I glanced over it tonight, I did not do my homework, so.
Way to go, teacher.
I didn't get it, so
Yeah.
I apologize.
There you go.
So,
Hold on, let me look at.
I'm just asking, cause the other one, I think within 15 days, you had the opportunity to appeal,
everybody should.
to, I believe, the building inspector or the people involved. And I was just curious if there was a reason.
I think I'm looking at it right now, I think there is 505-100.
505-100?
I don't think that's out here right now, but it talks about appeals and 500-070
Yeah,
as
we're,
appeals.
we're in the 220s now.
Yeah, we're in the 220s now. It's in the previous policy.
It is.
It is.
It is 505-120 appeal. Any owner, occupant, leasing, mortgage, agent, or any other person having an interest in the dangerous building as shown by the land records or the recorder of deeds of the county. And even there, it's forcing you to take it to circuit court. It doesn't even give you the opportunity to appeal it to this group or this board. You're immediately asking that person to take legal action is what I'm seeing. Was that the intent? Again, not to be problematic, just to ask the question.
No,
I think
but
it was-
I think there's
I think
another
it was
ordinance that,
I think it was.
there's another ordinance here somewhere that says appeals. Basically, you can appeal anything.
And maybe I'm missing it. Like I said, I'm just thinking if Nathan, who hopefully doesn't come to my house and tell me that something's wrong with it, I can't imagine why he would, I can appeal here by taking it to court. I can't just, and I don't think that would ever be the intent of this body to say, we're dictatorial and we're not going to allow you to appeal.
If you don't comply with the code enforcement officer, he writes you a ticket, and then you go talk to the judge, and then your appeal process from what the judge determines is through the court system.
It's through the court.
Okay.
So there is no appeal here. It does automatically go through the court system.
Yeah, that's after a 5-step process for notification and working with the property owner to address the issue, 'cause
On the building, yes.
no, this is on.
Did I miss it?
Yeah, under, section 220.020.
Okay, that was my question.
That's
Your
something
Dan
that
took a
will,
long time to get there.
no. We've just read it a lot. That's something we've all worked on as a group on trying to figure out what is the best option to build notification, because truly, it is about working with the landowner and, or in some cases, the tenant that lives there to address the issue without having to write a citation, so.
Sure, and I think that's really what I'm asking. I know there are a lot of people who own property within our city limits who don't live here. They come down once a month, they come down, and that doesn't fit within that 10 to 15 day. And I just didn't know if we had considered that. You know, I look at the current block I'm on, I think I am the last resident in my row of houses. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vacant houses. And I mow 3 of them, just because, you know, I don't wanna have snakes, rats, and all that wonderful stuff in my yard, cause snakes scare the crap out of me.
Right.
So, I mow. So,
'Cause
but that was just my question. I'm not trying to be contentious at all. I was just asking. Thank you for finding that, cause, I mean, what I was noticing was it seemed like we had 2 policies that were similar, but one, the appeal process seemed pretty obvious and upfront and clearly noted. And I, in my limited time to read over it, couldn't find it this one, so, thank you.
And part of the time frame on this one is the weeds and stuff that grow up. We give them a month and a half to work on the weeds. Those weeds will then be that much taller and.
Oh, sure.
problematic, so-
Cause it looks like it's about 30 days.
Yeah,
Between
no,
the
like I
steps.
said, I was just curious, the appeal process, because if they don't take care of it in a certain amount of time, it becomes a legal matter with the court system, which we know that the wheels of justice at times work slowly.
Right.
But
that-
once you've involved the court system, then if you do anything outside of that, what does that do to the courts? You know, there's just all these legal maneuverings, reasons why I'm not a lawyer, so.
So I move the approval of bill number 566.
First reading.
No, we're already to accepting it all.
Second
Accepting
time.
it.
Oh, one in a second.
We read
How's
it
that
the
work?
second time.
Okay.
So I move the approval of bill number 566 and adopting. And enacting, thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Roll
Aye.
call vote.
Aye.
Oh, my bad. Okay, Dustin,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Accept board member verbal resignation.
Order.
Johnny Horner resigned. Family issues.
Whoever you have.
And we have 2 interested parties at this time.
Do we have their resumes and stuff?
No, we don't really require resumes.
Resume.
You got mine.
I do, information.
Caleb Sutton, is he here?
No, he's not available tonight.
Okay. He has expressed interest, and then also David Beltman.
Present. Accounted for.
So, we have it on the agenda. Oh,
Austin Sutton?
Caleb?
Be his grandson.
Huh?
Caleb is his grandson. Is Austin's grandson.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm sorry, I was interpreting, class 86, I knew what he meant. I knew what Scott was asking.
Did he,
You guys are alternative,
did he
right?
know it, he just couldn't make it here today?
No, he's not available tonight.
Well,
I just like.
I'd like to postpone the appointment of a road board member until we can visit with him, at least a couple of us, to find out his interest. David, has interest, thanks for that. But I would like to know more.
So is your motion to accept verbal
Yeah,
resignation as on
yeah.
the corner and postpone until, okay?
till a future date, but a couple of us be able to visit with David and, the other member who's interested.
Why didn't the other person show up?
Just on that one today.
Huh?
He's on that one today, I guess.
I don't know if it was work or family commitment this evening.
Can you see if he can make it by the next meeting, or do you wanna try to do this sooner?
And we can, we can reach out to him.
And if he does, if he's unable to show up then
If Mark and one of the other aldermen can meet with them,
I'm good with that.
that's great sunshine law.
True.
If,
The vice
if I,
president of the park board would like to say
if,
something.
if I could, it was advised that he was going to be here when it was discussed in our park board meeting last Thursday, that he was going to be here for this. He was unfortunately not able to make it to that park board meeting, whereas David was at that meeting. So I just kinda wanted to throw that out there, that his attendance was not there. Well, he was supposed to be here from our understanding.
That's fine, I just still wanna postpone it until we can visit with him. So, yeah.
So we have a motion to accept Johnny Horner's resignation and to delay the appointment of a new park board member.
So, I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
David, that's nothing against you.
No,
Yeah, we've gone longer without a speaker of the
Scott,
house,
yeah.
so it should be fine.
Scott, say aye.
Aye.
What did the peanut gallery say?
I said we've gone longer than this without a speaker of the house, I'm sure we can.
You know, you're right.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And it's gonna end up being the same guy again.
Moving on. Okay. Approved membership with Throp Creek Shooting Range.
That's your motion.
Yes, I move we accept the proposal and agreement to join Thorpe Creek Range.
I'll second it.
For those of you who were not at our work session last week, this is where the police department, for the fee of $2,500, will be able to use the shooting range as much as they want, right?
And that was only one time payment.
A one-time
time.
fee.
One-time payment, yeah.
One time.
It's a crazy deal, because, it's amazing how much upkeep a shooting range takes. And for us to build our own or something, or for the county to have their own.
Dealing with the DNR, just on the
Yeah,
web.
so,
It was a
so
nightmare.
this is a perfect deal for us, so
Okay.
I second the motion.
Motion by Dustin, second by Dennis. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Mr. Gates?
Yes. Sorry, Chief Gray's not here. He's feeling down tonight. He's got maybe the flu, we're not sure, so he wanted to be here. He didn't have a whole lot to pass along. We did the stats, I believe, last week or so, and, even though we don't have 24/7 coverage, we're handling over 99% of the calls. I think that was pretty impressive for, not covering from about 2 AM to 6:30 or 7 AM, so.
Let's leave that times.
Pardon?
Let's leave that a mystery. We don't have time.
Everything else seemed to be going pretty good. Everybody's happy and mostly healthy except for Chief Gray tonight, and so. all's well.
Thanks for coming
Steve
and not
must be hanging around again.
Right,
I will, I'll pass that
Yeah.
on.
for sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chief Bauer, dangerous building update?
Sure. So you should have a updated copy of the current dangerous building violations that has been working in progress for the last year in some cases, so. We've made headway on a few of them. Obviously, Shadow Rock Lodge was one of the biggest one. I put some notes that I will visit with the owner and where they kind of stand as far as on Shadow Rock Lodge, so they're making progress with it. Like I said, it's watertight is what Will said as well. They're working on electrical rehab on the inside. They had to replace the main breaker panel, so it's parts issues, so a waiting game on some of that stuff. So they are making some progress, but it is slow. Probably one thing that you guys need to note is they did get the report back from the engineer for the pool, the old, so what their recommendation is, it is stable building as is. They don't recommend filling it up with anything heavier than what it was designed for, is what the engineer said. So basically water, so they're working with, see what their plans are for that, to keep that covered, or they're gonna try to rehab it, bring it back to the pool state with fencing and stuff. So that's kind of put on the back burner. They're trying to get the first, the other building rehab and stuff, and then they're gonna work on the second building, so.
So, any idea when they'll be able to take the construction fencing down?
Thank you.
Maybe if they secure the top, we could probably work with them and get that taken care of, as long as there's no other hazards there that needs to be addressed, but I can talk with Will on that, yeah. Can do that. Outside of that, like I said, if you guys have any questions on some of these properties, again, I think, trying to revisit, I think some, revisits and phone calls need to be made, and some meetings to address, to see if we can work with the property owner to address them. Some of the others have been compliant and moved forward with addressing it. The others have, the ones that are in red, I'd point out, are non-compliant and have no contact since we tried to address them, with them. And so,
So what do you need to pursue these?
so I think a last effort with maybe PD or a building department trying to schedule a meeting, whether you guys wanna sit in with that, or alderman sit in with that meeting with the property owner and see what their issue really is, why they couldn't address the issue and concern and pulled it out, because some of these properties have pulled, obviously they were in dangerous building state and were able to pull it back, or they did a demo. They're, again, the dangerous building ordinance lays out a guideline there, what their options are, so it's not just, hey, you have to demo that building, so.
So, and if they fail to show, what's our next move? That's what we're trying to pass here?
Correct, yeah, so to move forward without restarting, we need to,
Pass that.
try to fix that issue, cause we're, like I said, some of these are going well over a year. And,
Well over a year without even contacting.
yeah, and so,
And our friend that was here,
Duck.
no, nothing out of
Sir
him?
Thibodeau,
Yes, I was trying not to say
no, we-
name. But yeah, he's done there. No, ever
There's
since
no-
that meeting,
no, he has not pulled up a building permit as requested, and the option was given to him, so, on either building.
And we even waived the fee on the building.
yeah, we might pull the,
Well, any appointments that you set up, one or two of us can definitely
Okay.
join you for those.
So, and just see if there's anything else that the city can do to try to help move them along on it, but I don't know. They've got skin in the game as well, so.
Right.
Cause basically under the current, with these, you're at a standstill, cause the current ordinance has no
Teeth.
what now stamp,
Right.
because, it's written as if everyone was just gonna comply and it was all gonna be perfect.
Right.
Well, the ones where you get no contact for a year, there's no step after that.
Right, yeah, there's nothing, no guidance there, and so that's
So-
what the new ordinance is supposed to fix, and so.
And that was where you guys worked with the Missouri law to
Correct.
pull that into there, to say, what can we do?
Alright, thank you.
You're welcome. If you, I don't know if you saw the note on the bottom of the page, is that something you guys would be approval for and meet with the Board of Adjustments?
So that's why I talked to Hank before the
Okay.
meeting, if we change just a little bit of verbiage in the title, then we don't have to start over on all of these.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Contraction. Approve MOU for procurement and distribution of medical supplies to first responders. So this is a carryover from,
Yes, this was a carryover from the, our last meeting, and so I believe we've adjusted, or, looked at, the concerns there with the attorney as well, and, believe we can move forward with the MOU agreement. There's no downfall to it, doesn't cost to the city, anything for the MU agreement, it's just, correspondence with, basically the ambulance district. They'll help with, supplies and stuff, and, replenish some that we're using, as well as, MOU agreement to be in place, cause they currently do provide our medical director for first responder, protocols at no cost, so it just tightens the strength with us and working relationships.
I make the motion that we pursue this memorandum.
I second. It's a great deal.
Saves the first responders a lot of money.
motion by Scott, second by Dennis, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Approve electrical bids for fire station 1 HVAC unit.
Yep.
I had a question on that, what are they gonna do with the old heaters? I see that they're gonna remove them.
Two will be removed under this new, so that was the reason why it had to be rebid, is the current power load in the building without having to put a whole new box in was limited, so they had to readjust the heating strips for the new unit, so, and then reduce some of the power, so we're keeping one heater as a backup in case it gets -40, I'm sorry, let's say that. The other two would have to surplus off and,
But we're keeping them in there, they either surplus them or use them in another area.
If the city has them, they're three-phase, so if the city has three-phase in other buildings, they can
Maybe
use, but,
the workshop down there, Steve's workshop. I don't know if they got a heater down in there.
I can check with Steve and find
Yeah,
out, I don't know if
that's
they
not-
got three.
I just wanna make sure that they're not gonna take them and say go scrap
No,
them
no,
and then sell them, we'll sell them on.
We retain the rights of them, and, either we'll surplus them or move them to another department. They are as old as the building, so.
Yeah. That was just my concern, other than,
No Energy Star on that, no Energy Star.
The current ones, no,
Yeah.
I mean, it is three-phase, so it's probably the better energy efficient. The newer unit, should give us some, on a commercial unit, they don't do a SEER rating, so, that was kind of a challenge trying to figure that out, but, it should do a lot better. And then also, the other caveat with the HVAC unit is it's gonna be filtering the air a lot cleaner for, fire trucks and stuff, so, it's got a lot heavier filters and stuff in it, so. So the bids in front of you, have three, it's the same, companies that rebid it. Again, they had to rebid it and drop it down to 100 amps for the entire unit to be able to comply with our electrical that we have here in the building. And so I believe it's the same vendor that provided a bid. It looked like it was only worth, I think that there's two of them within a couple $100 each other, so.
I move the approval of the Lakeside, bid of $5,734.47 for that electrical.
Do we have any need a second before we discuss? I'll second it.
Yeah, second before you discuss.
All right, have we had any experience with any of these history that would,
All the two of them, yes, we've had history. The other one is a commercial vendor, that did woodlands too, so they're a fairly big company. All of them provides, workman's comp and what the requirements is.
what all of them are, did workforce satisfactory and everything?
Yeah, we've used both of them.
Alright, motion and a second?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
There you go. Approval for Liberty Utilities to install a street light on Highway 160 across from the Woodlands 2 entrance at a cost of $21.38 a month. We no sooner got out of that meeting last week, Wednesday morning, I'm driving to work and it was pitch black and here is
that chick,
it was a guy walking on one side in all black, and then I saw the chick too.
yeah, she was over there by 176, I really almost
Yeah,
got her.
it's dark, it's dark.
It is dark. And they're black, as you said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
It actually, that one actually scared
They
me.
come out of Scott's laundromat.
It's part of it, not hooking into water.
I move the approval to have Liberty Utilities install
Soaking
a
up
street
heat.
light on Highway
I
160.
couldn't help myself, I was just like, I'll second it.
Motion by Dennis, a second by Dustin.
I've got a question though. Okay, the
Yeah.
cost, we know it's gonna cost $21.38 per month. What's the initial cost to install it?
That is the cost
They're
per
just-
month.
they will come out and they just do
amortize
it.
it over however
Okay.
many years they do.
And then they come back and change light bulbs and
It's their
all that,
light.
right?
Yes, they're.
Yeah, it's their light.
Yeah, we just pay for the electricity. It's really.
Are we putting the pole up?
Request a LED.
Just going across the street.
That's about all they're installing
I
now.
think
They're
that's all they
changing out a lot of our
install
existing
anymore.
to LED now,
Yeah.
so.
It's really hard to replace the non-LEDs anymore.
Okay, so motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And a little bit more expensive than the $21.38 a month is the purchase of a truck for Public Works.
I spoke to Steve prior to the meeting. So, on the 3 bids, only one of them has a truck in stock. That's in St. Louis. The 2 other local vendors can't even give us an ETA of when they get one. And so I feel with necessity of getting it into Buzz Andrews and getting it ready for snow plowing, which we're a month away, probably a month and a half away from snow.
No, we're not. It's October.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had November.
It
ended up
Last
looking-
year, the first weekend of deer season.
Yeah, but
It
if
snowed.
But if it
Snowed,
comes
yeah.
true, comes true, we just wanna know that Scott spoke it.
Yeah, and
That's-
Bill will.
In November.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I never would have thought I'd heard this.
I'm ready,
snowplow guy
Scott.
say
Let's,
no.
let us know.
But anyways, for the interest of getting this thing and getting it fast tracked, cause we don't know when these other 2 providers will give it, especially with the little strike there.
If they can.
Still going or have it or whatever.
It's still going.
So let's go with this.
Little strike.
I move that we
It's
go
a big
with
strike.
the bid from St. Louis and I'm trying to, do you know
What-
which?
What page is
Which one
that?
it is?
I'm
The
looking
Herc-
for it.
How big-
Say pause. Say pause, or however you say it. The Herculean.
Yeah.
How big a truck are you getting? How big a truck are you guys getting for the city, may I ask?
25, well, I think it was
35.
3,500?
3,500 regular cab.
Okay.
V8, 6 liter, 6.6 liter, 10-speed automatic,
Okay.
Long box.
Long box?
for some total of $52,750 and no change.
I got a salt spreader I'll show you put in it.
If that's not,
Donate it to the
Sapphire
city.
is,
Donate.
has the vehicle.
Donate it to
Yeah.
the city.
I mean,
I can't-
we
we
could
can't
be waiting
donate nothing.
Yeah,
We
you're
could be
right.
waiting 6
That's right.
months for this
That's
thing.
right.
It's an extra 2,000, but.
We can't designate where it goes.
So Scott, which one are we approving?
The,
Say pause.
Save
I
on,
said it.
Save on motors.
Safe on Motors.
Oh,
for $54,813.
I second that motion.
how long is this thing gonna last?
Oh, we'll get.
Is it brand new?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is this a replacement
About
or in
5
addition
days.
to?
Yeah, it's a replacement, and then the current vehicle Steve is, which is useless because it's just a little pickup, we can't snowplow or nothing. That's going to the building department, and that one's not gonna get, we'll end up selling that or using it.
It's
That old
Yeah,
Ford.
there was like a three-way swap in
Yeah.
the land.
We want to
One gets
get
sold.
7 miles to the gallon?
Yeah,
What's the,
but this one will also, so every vehicle in the fleet will be able to, except for the, of course, the water truck and the sewer truck, will be able to plow snow.
how big's that one you're selling then?
Oh, it's one fifty.
It's an old Chevy
It's that old
Colorado that he's gonna
150, yeah.
sell.
Oh.
No,
Huh?
it's the old Chevy Colorado that he wants to sell.
He wants to sell the
The
Colorado?
one that's currently, I think, functioning as meter reader.
Okay,
Mm. Oh.
And then the building truck will go to meter
but
reader.
either way, it won't push snow,
No.
or how much.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for Safe Harbor Motors, $54,813. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Yeah, they get you.
We have availability for a meeting, not a work session, but an additional meeting on November 6th.
There's a rut.
I'm pretty available, in case you needed to know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be here until 6:30.
November the 6th.
So adjust the schedule. I can be here, but I won't be until 6:30.
Okay. Is that the election day? Tuesday's election day?
Here.
Oh, super.
Right?
November the 6th, but we have
Okay,
this up going on.
so 6:30 on the 6th?
November the 4th.
7 o'clock.
Gotta get out of the tree and get back into here.
Get out of here.
It'll be dark by 6:30.
You know, President don't eat.
Yeah, daylight savings time.
Time will have changed by that point.
Yeah.
By that time, if you don't have a
Yeah, it'll be dark.
you need to be out of the tree and here.
6:30, come on, that's for the nation. I gotta go to bed.
6:30, that's getting close to
Oh my
bedtime.
Yeah.
gosh, you're young.
I get up at 5
I get up at 4:15.
Hey, I was on the road at 2 o'clock this morning, so.
And I'm
You
glad
left
that's
your
not-
driveway at
Gotta go
5.
to Cave City, yeah, I left the driveway at 2.
And I'll keep minutes so you don't.
My
have
age,
to
I
stay
have
so
to
late.
get up.
It's been a long time for you.
So who all do you want to come? You want Angela? You don't
Okay.
need me then?
We can talk about it later.
Yeah, okay.
So meeting
Guys,
November
don't wrestle
6th.
for it.
Yeah.
Don't wrestle.
What is that?
Paper racks it.
Okay.
I'll be here. It don't matter to
November
me.
the 6th.
Minutes.
I move approval of the minutes of September 18th, 2023 meeting and October 10th, 2023 meeting / work session. Really was a work session.
It was,
I'll
yeah, we're not
second that.
using those in that word anymore.
No.
So motion by Dennis and second by Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Alright,
I do think there could be times when we do want a work session, when it's focused on a particular part of our work.
Like last week with the
Yeah, like-
ordinances.
yeah, well, sort of like, last week we were trying to deal with, special events. And we just focused on special events, and that was the only thing we focused on. I think that would have been an awesome session. Because then we got it really dissected and changed and some stuff, just a thought.
and just to make sure we are posting these work sessions, just like a normal meeting.
Yeah, this is just gonna say meeting, no work session.
They're meetings, they're not work sessions.
Okay.
It was
You wanted
posted
to
the
sign
Friday
this.
before, like normal.
Yeah, I'm tracking, I just wanna make
Just a
sure.
meeting.
Number 14, bills for approval.
I move the approval of the bills of November, have to think about the month, September 21st of $77.09.
I like that.
That's.
I know, right?
That's just for 1 week.
September 28th.
For 1 day.
Yeah, $43,872.50. October 5th, $48,998.59. And October 12th, $49,776.33.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dennis and a second by Dustin, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Angela, we want more weeks like November 21st.
I'd like a lot more weeks like that.
Of course, then there'd be a lot of bills to pay after that.
That was
Well,
September
there were.
23rd.
They were.
Your financial statements are in front of you, bank balances comparatively this year over last year, total cash is about the same. A little bit of variation, small amount between the funds. And then the second page of that is your minimum fund balance requirement. Both of these sheets are going to change once the MOSIP, the investment accounts, come online for the October 31st statements. So they're gonna probably look a lot different, so try and keep them to one page, cause less is more when it comes to chopping down trees. You approved the range for the police department, and what we said in the work session is that we would amend the budget for that. So I'll be working on a budget amendment for December's meeting. I think we're gonna have a few other things that come up here shortly that we'll need to address with the budget amendment, and rather than do one line item, I think it might be a little quicker to just do after a quarter, trying to figure it out. So that's really all I have.
I move the financial statements as of September 30th, 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dennis and second by Dustin, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And the transfers from September 21 to October 12th.
I move the transfers from September 21 through October 12th, 2023.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And our monthly audit reporting sheet was received and reviewed.
Yes.
Dustin?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes. There seem to be more names on this one than the last couple.
Some of that's just timing. The
Okay.
actual balance of accounts that were delinquent was a little bit smaller than last time.
Right. I just noticed it seemed like a lot more names to look through.
I have to have this memory thing. I have to catch it right before Misty pushes the button to put the new utility bills on. And sometimes I'm a little early rather than closer to that, and it makes a few more people on the list.
Say negative 3.9% delinquency.
That's on the 30-day delinquencies. Several people pay ahead this time of year, they're out of town. So that negative balance there is because people have paid ahead. The line below it is the actual delinquent, the real delinquents. Accounting for the real ones. So it's still a relatively small amount for the amount of billing that we do.
I read it, Burke.
Did I?
Did you review it? Scott?
Yes, I did.
Can I
Quick
ask
question.
a question? Do we currently have any grants that are providing money for projects? Whether, I'm asking as far as the park, you know, but are there, you know, and
You gotta go find them.
so we don't have any currently that are being used currently?
Not in the works, no.
No. Not what?
Not in the works. But if we went out and found one, we could definitely put it in the works. And a lot of the times with the grants, we have to have a specific project,
Right.
3 bids, the whole works, a plan, submit it, and then they can give money to go forward.
I
So,
know that's kind of tricky.
I've written a couple unsuccessfully. We had a grant writer working on one for Shoals Bend. And then there was a family emergency that came up there and we missed the deadline to submit. So that was just August, I think. So that was the last one that we had any play on.
Was one written or used for the bike trail? Or not?
I tried really hard to get that one.
Okay,
and
so
the
grant
we
is
didn't get
not
that.
paying.
No, we used some of the ARPA money for that.
Okay,
As
I
well
knew
as-
that.
Yeah, yeah.
So we would entertain any kind of grants.
Well, no, I was just
Parks.
confused because at our last meeting for the park, it was said that a grant was paying for the bike trail. And so I was just, that's all I was
I
wondering.
guess you could think ARPA was kind of a grant.
No, that was
ARPA.
separate from-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that's all I wanted.
All right,
Okay,
thanks.
thank you.
but no, if you had a project in mind and wanted help researching a grant, we could definitely
You've probably written grants, haven't you, Deb?
Yep, so is Bob.
try and chase one down.
Okay, any other public comment?
I have two really quickly. I know this has been a short meeting, so I'll keep this really short. I did just wanna clarify that our event has been approved, cause I never got any follow-up on the application. I didn't even receive confirmation that the application was received or anything. So I know we've generally talked about it, and I hate to assume that our actually cook-off has been approved, but I never got like the official, like, you're good to go.
We haven't gotten that.
We'll address that and see where it stands, if we've got everything on file.
You have your application, right?
Sure.
You don't?
Yeah, if something like that ever happens, don't hesitate to give us a call.
Okay,
Or
yeah,
ask
'cause-
like you're doing now.
okay.
So,
And then, so that might be something for, I know we're kind of the guinea pigs with the new stuff that's being
Especially that
submitted,
stuff we're
yes.
working.
Send you an automatic copy, your
Well, not
application has
necessarily,
been
just like
received. Your application is in
something.
the review process.
It's in the review process,
The
but
review, something.
where it's at, nobody knows.
It's been passed on from this person.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know if they have any
Something.
issues
Right.
with it, they'll get in contact with you right away if they see problems.
Yes. And then the other thing really quickly, I had received information, about the way that donations are received and that they cannot be submitted with a specification. That if the donor has no say in how, when, or if the city spends the money. So I thought that if it was a donation is submitted to the city stating that it is, a stipulation to be used for one thing, and the board approves it, then that is where that money goes to. But the information I received states that's not how it works. So I didn't know where I could get clarification on that, or if that's something that can be worked on.
Currently, unless there's a project in process, it's not tracked separately. So it would just, for example, what they're gonna do, they wanna put it in the recreation fund, it would go to the recreation fund account. But it's like the bike raffles, that money went to the recreation fund account, but nothing's happened with it.
Well, that was kind
So
of
part of the
That was-
recreation account.
But
So-
it's going to have purpose.
We are doing this, just to put it out there, because apparently nobody knows. We are trying to donate this money because people in the community wants a dog park. So we, as two groups, we need to figure out if we donate our $50 or $5,000 money, that it just goes towards that dog park and nothing else.
Then
That money
And,
can't be
and that's what we're
used, right?
saying, what Nicole says, so if we say, hey, we wanna donate this just for this dog park, so it should not go in the rec fund or anything else.
So that might be a question for Hank.
Yeah,
If
he's ciphering it right now.
Yeah, cause if I say, I'm giving you these funds with the stipulation that it be used for this, and if you accept these funds, you accept those terms, and then you take those funds, you're essentially in a binding agreement with me stating, and then you decide to use the funds to go buy a new truck for the works department instead of using it for the parks department, you have then voided our contract or have broken that, correct?
If there is a specific contract, yes.
Okay.
Cause it
I
wasn't
would
able to
think
be
you
allowed.
wanna set up a separate account for something like that, and just use that account for receipt of donations and expenses related to the dog park.
It can be done, correct?
It can be done, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
cause
not
I
only
just,
that,
that,
we could put it out there that we're taking
Business
funds,
wouldn't donate money.
Take a donation.
taking donations for.
Exactly.
Well, and I know
Put it out
other,
there, someone, a lady with 50 cats might throw it.
other communities have set up. Springfield has a park board that has a foundation or something to it.
Probably a 501c3 so that it's deductible.
Yeah, so it's deductible so that they can oversee a certain, I don't know if they oversee all the parks or a portion of the parks, but it could be that a 503c could be put together for the dog park, so that we be a participant of it, helping provide land. That the 503c then oversees how it's set up, how it's run, how it's maintained and all of that. And that becomes the 501(c)'s part. That'd be one way.
What type of cost are you looking at for a dog park?
the,
Good question.
yeah, it's more based off of my question is more of how the donations are handled, cause the information I received contradicts itself, as well as very deterring as far as don't donate money to the city, and that's a little disheartening.
But I
See,
think
we-
to your question, Cheryl, the cost,
We
don't even have, I don't think.
We
don't
haven't
propose
got,
plans,
we
don't
haven't
even
got a
estimate
cost yet, because for one, we don't have enough money in the park
Your
Fund?
fence is gonna be the biggest.
Yeah.
So in order for us to build it, we would rather, Vice President Nicole and myself and probably the other park board would like to get money established. So then we can get some kind of information or bids or whatever, then if we can receive it, then we can go ahead and do it. As long as it's approved by the city and the aldermans. But I don't wanna push it and say, okay, it's gonna cost $60,000 if we don't have $60,000, and then we have to scrounge around and try to get that money. I would rather get money in there and get it going, build it up, and then say, hey, we got this much, what's it gonna take?
My only request about the dog park is that all dogs that go there have to be licensed.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Correct.
I actually have an entire.
We already have it
spot
all.
For all of the
That's somewhat
specifications.
a
That's how much me and Nicole's been working on this.
Yeah, how
Right.
few.
Are you
Very
working out
good.
there by first?
No.
So would we be able to?
There's not
set
enough
up
room up there.
Another thing like a Crable Fund?
It'd be called dog park.
Okay.
Okay,
And Dennis, on that as well, there's, most of the dog parks allow like a day use pass for, it'd be great for like people from
Yeah,
Great
like-
Escapes
Yeah.
and stuff like that that are
Yeah.
staying.
No,
Yeah.
I think they're wonderful. I've seen
Yeah.
them used well, and the dogs seem to get along better in those
Oh,
Mhm.
than when they're
So,
roaming.
people that use dog parks usually have really good dogs.
and we've talked about it, and in order to use a dog park, your dog has to be licensed in the city. It's gotta be, it's gotta show proof of, vaccinations.
Yeah, it's gotta be vaccinated.
It's gotta be, signed up with the city. So you pay your 25 or whatever it is,
Yeah, it just has to be registered, but that's, yeah.
huh?
Membership to the dog park, I think is what he's.
Well,
Yeah,
membership at a dog
membership.
park,
Yeah.
when we come to that, that's when we will our board will then get with you guys and figure out.
Yeah. It'd be like operating a gym.
It's gonna be operating gym. You're gonna get a code number and stuff, and it's gonna be locked up, so only you and your dog can get in that code. We've already got kind of it all kind of lined up, but like I was telling her, I don't wanna push the issue until we have money in there for this to help our community, fellows and ladies and gentlemen that have dogs in the condos and stuff that can't walk their dogs. That would be more suited, and it would be for big dogs and for small dogs.
When's your next park board meeting?
President,
November
9th.
Whatever the first
Next
Thursday of
Thur-
November
yeah.
is.
Night.
No, that's the, Boys and Girls Club Gala.
So,
Thursday, I went to the next one, or the one after that, I guess.
But that answers my question, 'cause
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify this information and make sure that it was correct.
and I just want to clarify that me and Nicole are working on this dog park, the best we can. But I want to get some money coming in and stuff, and see where we can go from there.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Awesome. And the chili cook-off is put on by businesses.
Chili cook-off is put on
It is
by.
not put on by the park
It's
board.
not put on by the park
an
board. We'll get that out there right now. The park board has nothing to do with this chili cook-off at all. It's Finish Line Automotive, Professional Automotive, and Bailey's Property Maintenance, the two companies that's been working so hard to get all the vendors. How many vendors we got, Nicole? You know? I know we got a few vendors. We got a lot of people signed up for the chili cook-off. We're gonna have coffee there. Sir,
Where are you gonna have it?
Shadow Rock Park. Because
Con-
it's,
Contingent on it being actually approved.
yes, if it gets approved. So that's why we're just,
So dinner on the way, chili on the way.
it's,
And
yes.
a concert.
And we're gonna have a concert,
We need to
fans there, everything. So we're hoping to make this big enough to where we can have it all the
Yeah, and
time.
bouncy houses,
I'm done
Scott.
talking about bouncy.
And bouncy houses, and I'm even donating some of my bouncy houses to put up, so we have more bouncy houses.
But I do have a question. You know, Carmen Crable donated a lot of money to parks and gave their land for the second firehouse and stuff. We probably should recognize her name. Maybe call it a station, Crable Station. You got any problem with that, Nate?
No, we have a small plaque on it and we put it in service.
Like I said, we put a plaque
There
up
is a
there.
small plaque, I mean,
Yeah.
it could be a bigger one, but I have no
No,
objections.
You can kick that around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I move that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.